Secrets. The story under analysis was written by Bernard McLaverty, an often Irish writer of fiction and short stories. McLaverty was born in Belfast, Northern Ireland, and educated at Holy Family Primary School in the Duncannon district and then at St. Melachus College. This story describes how the main character, a boy, buys into his aunt's personal correspondence despite her prohibition. What is more, we learned that the boy could not forgive himself even after the death of his aunt. The story takes place at Aunt Mary's house in the past and present day. It's hard to understand the year and the date of the events as the author doesn't state about it. Perhaps the setting is 1970s or 1980s because once the boy asked Great Aunt Mary about the photo where was a man, and she suggested that that man was killed in a First World War that was between 1914 and 1918. Quote, John August 15 Ballintoy, end of the quote. Quote, was your friend killed in the war? At first she said no, but then she changed her mind. Perhaps he was. End of the quote. This short story is a third-person narrative. The story is being told by an unnamed narrator who saw events from his side. The story is written in a form of flashback, and as it develops, it introduces the reader to the story's protagonists, Aunt Mary and the boy. The narrator describes the experiences of the protagonists. From the very beginning of the story, the reader sees how distant is the boy from his dying aunt. After that, there is a flashback of the boy's memories where his relationship with aunt rapidly crumbles after the author breaks her request and reads the aunt's personal correspondence. The aunt views it as a serious neglect of trust and cruelly lashes out at the boy, at the young man, at the main hero of the book, leading him to regret his actions. In the present, the aunt is dying and the young man is thinking over his past actions that he is still ashamed of. The reader also discovers that the main characters were not always in conflict, but they also used to share a close and warm bond. After Aunt Mary dies, the boy recalls moments that he shared with his aunt in his childhood, and how he betrayed her trust and as a result was never forgiven for it. Episodes aren't in chronological order. The action starts when Aunt Mary is dying, and then it turns to a flashback when the aunt tells the boy about her past and reads books to him. The climax of the story is when the boy starts looking for letters and gets caught by his aunt. Conflicts aren't resolved as the boy doesn't have an opportunity to apologize for rummaging through letters. The denouement is surprising as we find out that the aunt doesn't forgive the boy and not even say a word for him and about him. The author's mastery enabled him to examine many important things, such as betrayal, curiosity, love, regret, death, and forgiveness. I would like to discuss the theme of regret more closely. The boy feels great regret for invading his aunt's private letters. When he comes to her for the first time to ask her for stamps, he notices that she is trying to keep her secret and doesn't want him to touch any of her letters. The boy knows that it will be wrong for him to be looking through his aunt's letters, but the inquisitiveness of the boy takes over him. When the aunt goes to devotions, the boy, led by his curiosity, creates a plan and makes his way into the aunt's room, opens her bureau bookcase and starts reading the letters, which turn out to be very personal. He doesn't want to be caught, that's why he gently pushes the read letters into envelopes, but later he can't resist the temptation and reads the letters in Devour. Of course, the aunt catches him for his impartial act. The boy feels guilty till her death and even after it, as the aunt hasn't forgiven him. I think that the author wanted to show how regret can eat from the inside for the whole life of the person. The tone of the story is agonizing and depressing. The boy feels horrible for reading his aunt's letters, and what is more, he feels awful that he didn't even apologize before she died. Quote, he was trembling with anger and sorrow, he didn't know which, enter the quote. One of the main characters is Aunt Mary. She's a very proud person by nature. Her property is her everything. She is elegant, strict, and even stubborn. She is very touchable too and put great responsibility toward such characteristic as trust. One of the unique features of her is her sophisticated speech, which she uses all the time. Quote, you are dirt, and always be dirt. I shall remember this till the day I die. The end of the quote. In my opinion, the author wanted to say that it is necessary to think about the consequences of our actions because they can be unpleasant and fatal. Being led by negative and positive but unconscious emotions, we must keep our words and actions under control. Otherwise, it can lead to events that we can't change.